if I can't see them, I can't grab them.
You've got to beat the tide. The time and tide waits for no man. Richard's going like a train, so we'll keep him busy, I reckon. He's earning his money today. It's good.
Almost $300 there. Dude. He's equivalent to a good supply of beer for the weekend. Dude.
The counter says 40. Still a few to go. Tide's still just cranking up. I just love it, yeah. Fantastic way of life. It's just what I do, you know? It's just, the money's just a bonus.
There's 5 more pots to go.
He's getting pretty cocksure of himself. Gear's starting to just bob. Ah, another couple of customers.
Take the bodyguard out.
The numbers are low. Yeah, it's not great, but we're targeting the big fish, and look, the size is good. Big fellas like that, they are the go. We love them. Them big daddies, absolutely.
The crew pulls in their last pot.
What have we got?
And 3.
3 banger. I'll say that was a bit of a boost.
I'm happy with that.
49 k's, what do you reckon? 90 kilo?
That's a cool $8,500 worth. They beat the tide. But will they beat the storm? Amy's Bay, and the Minamara is hunting close to the rocks. It's a dangerous strategy. Get it wrong, and you can lose it all.
Just get out of this fluffy stuff. When we're in this white fluffy stuff, there's all air bubbles in the water, and the sounder doesn't pick up the bottom properly. You can't see it, and if you're in shallow, you might be heading over rock and you won't see it. You can hit it, which has happened before. Round the corner there at Wilson's, we were going up along the cliffs, and air bubbles in the water, couldn't see it. Next thing, bang. It's not a good feeling. 55-foot steel boat sitting on a rock.
Oh, yes. There's a thumper in that one.
Couple of nice fish there.
Yeah.
A lobster here and a lobster there won't pay the bills. Clive wants to head north.
Hey, look, the sun's coming out.
He sat phones into Hobart for a weather update.
How you going, Graham? It's Clyde.
He's trying to decide whether to stay put and sit out the storm or take a punt and head north to more fertile grounds.
All right. Just wondering, there's a bit of a break in the weather, whether we should just get around to Davey and then just hang out there for a couple of days until it finds up. So the swell's going to drop back to 2.5, is it, on Wednesday? God, that's almost a week away.
King Island tide is racing.
Yep.
And because of that, Danny's decided to use longer pot ropes. It takes about an hour to drop a full shot of 50 pots. Danny wants to do that in half the time.
I've got the long ropes on still, the 55-fathom ropes, because if your rope's too short, the pot's bounce at the bottom, the crows don't like it, so we're going to use the long ropes again.
He's casting out over a 200-metre radius at varying depths.
Yep.
Once all the pots are set, they'll leave them for about 7 hours to soak and then haul them back in.
You get a bit of everything here. You get big fish, little fish, girls, boys, the whole lot. Yep.
The real skill is where to drop your pots.
When I'm shooting the gear, I've just got to adjust my boat speed for the tide. Yep. Sometimes when there's lots of tide, I've really got to push the boat up a bit harder. It's still the thrill of the hunt. Like, I still enjoy setting the gear more than pulling it. Pull the gear, catch a crazy, yeah, that's all fun. But the set is the hunt. And even after 25 years, I still stuff it up.
Sometimes when there's only one pot to go, Danny will occasionally suffer from last pot syndrome. He'll just drive around and around and around, trying to find the perfect spot for it.
You're not talking about last pot syndrome,
I am indeed. Did you get your vaccination this year?
No.
Yeah, so we've got a storm coming out of the west, so it looks like we'll be home for at least a week. I don't mind staying home when it's real rough, especially when it's Tassie school holidays and spend some time with the wife and the kids. Oh, here's another one! Oh, yeah!
The bold contender is winning big time, and just in the nick of time.
One to go. Can we please finish off with a big pot?
This will be their very last pot for the run.
Oh, that's another good pot. That's the last pot. We timed it beautifully. We're heading home and we're going to beat the weather. Can't ask for much better than that.
The numbers look good, but they won't know for sure if they've hit their target of 700 kilos until they weigh in at port.
When you got a delivery date, it just puts pressure on you. You know, you wind back the clock 4 days ago, and I took it on and I went home to have a sleep, and I thought, I think I've done a stupid thing there.
Last pot.
You've got 50 pots, you've got 50 chances. So you try and think like a lobster, you try and think, you know, certain times of year, where are they at? Are they chasing after the girls? Where are the girls?
So there we go. Probably be sitting here for another 5 minutes waiting for him to find a spot.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Danny's found the perfect spot to drop his last pot. That's last pot syndrome resolved. The Minamurra is on the move, heading north to Port Davey. Amy's Bay was a fail.
We're going to head out and around and take advantage of this bit of a lull in the weather. So we're going to head up to Port Davey. That'll take us about probably 3 hours to get up there. Then it's going to freshen to 35 to 40 knots tomorrow. That's why we're trying to get up there now. So we'll just stick it out for a few days until it finds up. So that's the plan.
They'll be in open sea for about 3 hours until they reach the port. If the storm hits en route, they'll cop it badly. Zach needs to make sure the pots are secure for the ride ahead.
All tied up, mate.
Yeah, cool. Good job.
The swell is up to 5 metres.
I haven't heard any boats on the radio. As far as I know, we're the only ones out here.
The Barralee and the Bold Contender are both motoring home.
So we are all at Malone. Safety's the name of the game. Yeah, we just have to make sure that we don't do anything silly.
The Minamurra is on a collision course with the storm. Will they make it to Port Davey in time? The Barralee is motoring home to Dover to avoid the storm. Older, wiser heads prevailed.
High tide was. Hello, Glenn.
It was a short trip, but their tank is full of big reds.
Yeah, I know. Tide's nice and high for you.
Warren's son Glenn is here to help them unload. Glenn's boat is stuck at port with engine trouble.
This could have been us here today unloading 700 or 800 kilo too. So, but anyway, that's, you know, that's just the way it goes. That's the first time it broke down for a long time. So it would have been nice to be able to be unloading today and have a few crates, but yeah, there's not much we can do about it.
It's a cracking load. The first decent haul of big reds for the season.
Righto, cobber!
Today's price for big reds is $95 per kilo. The lowest it's been all year is $75 per kilo, and the highest, about $110.
Finished up with 856 fish. The value is about 60,000. Not too bad for a week's work, is it? But by the time everything's taken out, there's not a lot left.
He's gone well, old fella, the way the weather and the swell was.
But the catch and the money are the last things on Jai's mind.
I rang Mum and she didn't answer, so I rang Sis, and Sis said, Mum, she's in hospital.
He's just found out his mum has been rushed to hospital for emergency surgery. The bold contender has also made it home safely.
We're just heading into our home port of Margate to unload.
Time to find out if they've reached their target of 700 kilos.
Toby's just pulling the bolts out to take the top of the tank off so that we can jump in the tank and physically get the lobsters out. That holds 20 tonne of water and it pumps it in every 9.5 minutes.
The lobsters are all sold live.
Hi Charlotte, how are you?
Squizzy's wife Carrie and their two kids Riley and Charlotte come down to welcome him home.
You come to help unload. Have you?
Yeah. It's good to know when he's coming home and see him coming up the channel. Riley's pretty keen and Charlotte to get up here and see him when he comes in. Pretty keen to see him too.